Yes, hello everybody. Welcome to what we call Full Course Yellow. If you're coming across from Channel 31 after the first episode of In Pit Lane, you are welcome to join us this way. But this may be a very, very quick show tonight. I am feeling absolutely terrible. If you follow me at all on, and from a personal point of view on Facebook, you'll know that I've got the lurgy, not the big lurgy. But I've got something similar, and I'm not feeling well, and the nose is running like a tap. And yes, it's So how long we actually do this, I don't know. We're just, as they say in the classics, the show must go on. But we're certainly here together, and joining us once again, we've got Chris, and we've got Peter, and we've got Doc, and we're going to I have no idea what that was, but thank you, Doc.
Man flu.
Yeah, they're very much so. You bit hot on the set. So anyway, you're welcome to all of you who are there, and I suppose we should start on the sad note. We've had a couple of significant passings in the past week, and of course, one that probably the person that would be most famous, at least in Australia, is of course the late great Murray Walker. And I mean, we all grew up with Murray in terms of Formula One coverage. I mean, when Formula One coverage first came to Australia on a regular basis, it was the teaming of Murray and James Hunt that brought it to us. After I think it was about the first year, I think Darrell Eastlake and Alan Jones actually did commentary for the first year. But after that, they quite wisely decided to move over to Murray Walker, and the most famous motorsport voice in the world for all of it. And he made a career out of his Murrayisms. And I mean, you can go online. There's just so many of them. But we had the opportunity of catching up with Murray many years ago now, and I've told the story a few times. One of the great regrets of sort of the 25 years of In Pit Lane, we had a fabulous interview. We were very, very early in the morning. Myself and Jamie Cock and James Chen and I, we went into Murray's hotel where he was staying in Melbourne, and we sat down with him for a good half hour or more, and we chatted about all sorts of things, not just motorsport. We chatted about his experiences in the war, his relationship with his father, his days in motorcycle racing, his relationship with James Hunt. It was at times it was very, very emotional, and I'm very proud to say that at the end of it, Murray thought it was an absolutely excellent interview, and we were very proud of ourselves, and lots of high-fiving, and we nailed that one. That was an absolute ripper. And he said, you must send me a copy when I get back home, because I'd really love to see that. And got back to the RMIT studios, because we were using all their equipment at the time. Put the old pneumatic tape, 3/4 inch, into the machine, and pressed play, and beep. Great big grey line down the middle of it, and just noise for audio. So so it was great. So it was a fabulous interview. We sort of hooked something together from the in-camera mic, that my mic, of just what I picked up. But unfortunately, the only footage we had of all of the cameras to go, it was his camera and his audio, and not mine. So there was plenty of shots of me asking questions, and then me cutting in little bits of photos and all that to try and at least salvage something of a story out of it. But and I rang Murray, and that was one of the things. I mean, for years I had Murray's phone number, because he said before he goes, he said, give me a call, when it's ready, and when I get back, give me a phone call. He said, if you're ever over in England, give us a call. So so that was certainly a memory. The way I rang him and told him what had happened. He went, I'm just about to hop on the plane and go back. So he was really disappointed with that. So as indeed were we. And that's sort of the catalyst that we sort of lobbied and eventually got sort of some support from CAMS to get our own deer.
Well, just going around the room, your favourite cliche / Murrayism, Peter?
spin, spin, spin. There's lots of them. There's
Chris, your favourite one? Oh.
Well, there's if I'm not seriously mistaken. Oh yes, I am seriously mistaken.
And your favourite one, Brett? Because I've got one after you guys.
I think in my case it was the one about there's nothing wrong with the car except for the fact that it's on fire. I did always like that. I can understand why you say things like that. What's yours, Doc?
Mine is actually, they say, as we're in show business, you've heard before, imitation is the highest form of flattery. And a great comedian in Australia here by the name of Billy Birmingham, if you're as old as we are, you'd be familiar with some of his work. And he did a evening, Jeff, as well too. Thanks, Jeff, for joining us. The Billy Birmingham did a Wild World of Sports version back in the 80s, and he did a Murray Walker rendition. And without explaining the expletives, he said, those cars just keep on going round and round and round and round and round and round. So I think when someone else is taking you off, it means that you've probably made it. Yes,
he was one of the he was certainly one of the most imitated people. If people remember the days of In Pit Lane, people will remember that he was in fact our audio operator for many, many years. We had somebody who must continue to remain nameless, who worked in the mainstream media industry, couldn't use his own name, so we had Murray Walker as our audio operator and various other things for many, many years on In Pit Lane, and nobody sort of ever picked it up because we said, "What are we going to call you?" And he went, and by the way, it's a shame he's not here, and I was actually talking to him a few moments before we started the program, but. Yeah, he did the best, absolute on-point Murray Walker impersonation you've ever heard, and that's why he got that.
Just want to say thank you to Box. He's gone of his religious hour of power tonight. Half an hour of In Pit Lane from 31. He's switched straight across to us on YouTube. So good evening, Box.
We had Rally Retro next week on the program. We'll have we catch up with Mick Webb. I think I said it at the end of the program. I'm not sure I did actually because we had so much stuff happen. We just couldn't fit everything in. So there's more stuff from the sports sedans, including John Goulet. Took us. Doc and I went out on Saturday to that launch of the sports sedan. So we've got the full interview with John Bow. We've got more stuff with Mike Robinson with Robbo. Daniel Tomasi as well. So
Daniel was great as well too. He gave us a bit of an insight into himself and his son and the many years that they've been racing together.
And what they're going to do for what their plans are. And they're both, Daniel's back behind the wheel of the Calibri, sort of announced that on the weekend.
Well, I was going to say, who's driving what car? Who's pulling rank here? I think Daniel says, I want my car back. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so there was so that's happening, and John Goulet's car, which you saw briefly in that, if you watch the news tonight. Incidentally, once I finish this, and after I finish going and throwing up after this is finished, I'll come back and we will stretch out and give you some extended versions of that. Of that show tonight, which will be up probably first thing tomorrow morning on the In Pit Lane YouTube channel. And also, I'm going to go back and we're going to run all of the retro. So if you went to Rally Retro, we got every single run of the second half of the day. So if your car was one of those in the second half of the day, in theory, it should be in what we're going to put up a little bit later on. So we'll be doing that a bit later on at the moment. But it's just been flat out. I spent most of Monday and Tuesday in bed, flat on my back, and there, mad cow there. Hit the thumbs up. It gets me excited. Trust me, Mark. Right now, it takes a lot more than 2 thumbs up to get me excited. That could be taken in so many ways.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. Leave that one. We'll let that one. We'll put that one in the corner of the garden and let it grow.
Yes, I think so. Thanks to Russell Remark, because and look, it really is. It really is hard to sort of drag shows together. There's a lot of without the studio. It means there's an awful lot of editing, an extra lot of writing.
Can I just say on that too, Brett, that there's a lot of people behind the scenes that do our audio / sound.
Yeah, that's what I was about
bands.
to say. Yeah.
We've got all the people doing lighting, all the students, and all the fan favorites and everyone like that. They, Russell, they're all really keen to come back into. They're champing at the bit. They're bursting through the gates, and unfortunately, none of us can come back, can we, Brett? It's a shame.
No, it is unfortunate. I mean, the current situation. We don't know when or if we'll be able to, but there's other things going on as well behind the scenes, which we can't go too strongly into. But the bottom line is whether we actually get back in the studio at any stage is sort of still up in the air. But hopefully we'll have an opportunity of getting back, because that's where for the people who come in, the new RMI TV members who come in each and every year. I mean, now this is the week where they're they're coming in for O week, and they sign up to RMI TV and go, oh, I'd really like to be in to take part in a production. And we've got, like a list of about 14 or 15 new people who are saying, I want to be a part of this. And we've got to say, we don't have that much, because, we can't take 18 to 20 people out to the racetrack with us. They wouldn't have, one, they wouldn't have anything to do. Two, they'd be bored stiff.
Well, on the brighter side, while you're coughing, the cleaners think it's fantastic at the moment, not because there's no foot traffic that's going through RMIT at the moment, because they don't have to clean up the donuts that Pete leaves running around the passageways everywhere. So, yeah, they're woohoo! Yay! No Pete, no donuts.
Yeah, I think with the Korean dancers in there, I mean, Pete's donuts are the least of their problems. Just a reminder, Paul saying if people want to see good racing this weekend, the Eureka Series, the sprint cars are at Avalon this Saturday night. The following Saturday night, sprint cars will be at Nyora Speedway. Keep our fingers crossed for the weather. Nyora Speedway, sprint cars will be back in action for the first time in about 7 years at Nyora, and In Pit Lane will be there, and we will be streaming it live. The whole meeting from about 5 or 6 o'clock, whatever time the cars first hit the track, we'll be streaming every race live here on the In Pit Lane YouTube channel. So make sure if you're not on the In Pit Lane YouTube channel, subscribe. And please remember, I noticed Apple this week. Apple sort of admitted the battle. They've taken the word subscribe out of their podcast app, because they took a survey and they showed that most older people were not subscribing to podcasts, because as soon as they saw the word subscribe, they thought, oh, it's going to cost me something.
Subscription it's short for, isn't it? So, and back in the day, subscription cost you money.
It cost you money, yeah. That's that's it. I'm dying here, folks.
Okay. Just quickly before you go ahead, speaking of Nyora, and you had, I think you had every finger, toe, and legs and everything crossed. I hope we get the wet weather out of the way. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday is rain all week on the long range weather forecast. So if we get 5 days of rain out of the way with the late teens, it should be good.
Yeah, I hope so. They really deserve a break, the guys, because we got right up to, it was virtually the 2 days before, and everything was shut down again, and it was put on hold, and it'd be really a shame. Also, once again, I haven't had anything of, well, what I can tell you is that sometime within the next month, certainly after Easter, chances are we will be back at Calder Park for drag racing as well. The announcement will be made fairly soon. There's still a bit of stuff but yeah, I mean, we've certainly penciled it in. We've been told to have a date available. We know what it is, but we've been told not to make it public. But there is a date coming up very soon when hopefully we will be back for a return to Calder Park and a return to local drag racing, which would be fabulous. Thanks, Alan, for that support. The news segment. I had to take so much out, and we could probably talk about that. Although, I mean, one of the reasons I took out all the Formula One testing stuff because, I mean, Pete, did we learn anything at all from Formula One testing?
The only thing of interest was the fragility of the Mercedes team proper gearbox, and also Aston Martin, who use Mercedes componentry, so probably the fragility of their gearbox. But they were also saying that the skittishness of the Mercedes, which Valtteri Bottas, if I remember rightly, had problems with last year. So that really wasn't a surprise, but they're all saying it was a surprise that he found it hard to manage, but it was skittish at various points last year.
Yeah, I think also Valtteri, with as they said, with tongue firmly planted in cheek, when they asked him about how he sort of summed up the performance of the Mercedes, said something along the lines of it didn't go exactly the way we wanted to, but it'll be fine once we get those sandbags out. So I think that I don't think anybody's reflecting. What about the performance, Dan Ricciardo? The interesting thing about Daniel Ricciardo's performance, Pete, is that he wasn't like him go right at the top, but he was there and thereabouts. He was also consistently faster than than Lando Norris, which is probably the first part of the battle.
Yeah, so that was a surprise, and he was consistently there and thereabouts, and ultimately he finished about 7th in the total times, which is about where he's been consistently between 5th and 7th when he's been in the other, when he finished up at Red Bull and also at Renault and worked himself up to podium. So that bodes well.
Yeah, yes, it certainly does. That so it's looking good. It's looking good for him. Hey, Mark, thank you very much again, mate, on the super chat with the donate. Really do appreciate that. Always feel a bit strange about this sort of thing. It's not a telethon, and we have it from AdCow Mark. We have 50. There are lots of things, but we do appreciate it. It certainly does help because right now we're still on the hunt for sponsors. So if you know anybody out there who's looking for sponsorship over the next, obviously we came back. I didn't know, incidentally, if you looked at the Facebook page and saw that we were supposed to be on at 8 o'clock tonight. I didn't know until 11 o'clock this morning that we were on. In fact, the new time is, in fact, at this stage, is 8:30 after that's good for footy. The good thing about that is half-hour spots are always better than those cut in the half hour, because otherwise people have got to break into programs often. So the half hour is really good. In fact, it's probably 8:30 is considered the prime time slot. So it's the best. It is really the best time slot on Channel 31. So we do. So thanks to Audrey and the programming department at Channel 31, who
wasn't just a Channel 31 problem as well, though. Too, I did check the TV guide when I got home from work this afternoon, and they hadn't updated it then either. They still had the old programming on it as well too on some TV guides. So, and that was the digital one too, which uploads. So they were still running. They didn't even have That's Good for Footy on, so they hadn't updated both of us at that stage. And some of the
a lot of this stuff is because of the whole situation, they're still very much part time in at 31, and unfortunately because of the uncertainty of what was happening with 31, a lot of people found other jobs in the time everything was shut down. A lot of people sort of they thought, well, we're getting shut down. They found other jobs, or they found other positions, or they're not. So the people who are in there are doing it tough. And Audrey, the programming manager in there, did say today that she said, "Look, I'm just she's pretty much playing a lone hand in there at the moment in terms of trying to juggle all these things and get programs back and try and get everything back to normal again." And obviously, I mean, for all the RMI TV programs, not just us. I mean, it's not just us who have lost access to the studio, but 1700, The Leak, a lot of those programs, that normally come out of the studio, don't have access as well. The Rush Behind, I'm not sure what their status is at the moment, but
I'm
Yeah,
sure there's probably a few new projects that wanted to kick off at this year and able to go ahead with their plans as well too. There could be, there'd be new shows.
And that's one of the reasons why it'd be really nice, for things to be extended. So, as I said, certainly the plan by the government is still to shut 31 down at the end of June. Once again, still no reason given, none that they will tell us about. We sort of know the reason, what it is. Surprise, surprise, money's changing hands, and hello, Mr. Murdoch, if you're watching. But
I doubt. And there's
by the
always
way,
a digital.
If by some chance, Mr. Murdoch, you are watching, please die. Please die quickly. Thank you.
I was going to say, look, if he could bequest, when he does die in his will, he bequests a little bit of the spectrum for some community TV instead of actually trying to make money out of it, which he wouldn't care if he did. He'd probably run at a loss just to spite everyone else in the world to make a. He'd rather do that, cut his nose off to spite his face anyway.
Yeah, so anyway, virtual art, great to see more episodes from the track again. Yeah, this as they're coming up this week, Mick Webb from his workshop. The week after, we will have stuff from Phillip Island, from the Phillip Island Historic, and so there's plenty of stuff coming.
And of course, we'll have obviously the live stream from Nyora, and if you don't get to catch up with us on the Saturday afternoon, early into the evening. I'm sure Brett will love it, all the editing we were discussing earlier in the week that he's got to do, and probably put some sort of package up, and he'll have something on TV. He'll have some track stuff from Nyora, plus the full unedited bad version, muddy version on YouTube.
Yeah, well, that's it. Tony's asking, does Channel 31 have on demand? I'm not sure. They used to have on demand, watch a replay, but yes, it will. There will be an extended version, so you will get you'll get those full interviews, because obviously we're time constrained on 31 to only. We went a bit over tonight. We're supposed to be sort of 24 and a half, 25 minutes. We went a bit over tonight to get everything in, and they were a bit flexible because of our first show back and all the rest of it. But I've just got to do a re-edit, and probably that will be tomorrow now, because as I said, I'm not feeling well, and probably once this is all over, I'll be taking some more cold and flu tablets and going to bed, and hoping that this thing gets out of my system before. I'm feeling a lot better now, but I'm still feeling like crap. So, and if I sneeze, trust me, you'll all know about it.
If I fall over too before the end of the program, it means Carlton's going to win too, by the way. So, bit of both. Score
update, Doc.
Score update for the live viewers out there. Everyone watching, it is a few minutes into the third quarter to go, I think, and Richmond by 3 points.
Oh, well, there you are. It's a total. So they're into the third quarter, are they?
They're into the third quarter. It's a bit of a seesaw. Actually, they're counting down. Sorry, 4 minutes, 20 seconds to go in the third. And the whole of basically the second half of the second quarter and the third, it's been toing and froing. So Carlton's been up a couple of times by 2 or 3 points, and Richmond are going. So I did like the way the commercial television station that's broadcasting the footy, just slightly getting off topic here, but it is sport. They said, last year's premiers, Tigers, look how they come out and roar. And, Carlton's got some new talent. Thanks, guys. Yeah.
Well, speaking of the station that televises the football, they also televise the supercars. And this coming weekend we do have racing coming up this week at Sandown, of course, for the supercars. And if you want to watch it on Channel 7, there is no live coverage, but if you want to watch the highlights, you're in for a late night. Pete, what time? It's after midnight, isn't it?
Yes, they reckon it'll be on, the highlights packages will always be on the same day of the race. Well, no.
Yeah.
And
in which country?
Not even putting
Good one, Richie.
They're not even putting it on, like, their secondary channels. Like, they've got, old episodes of...
Bold HD used to have it on earlier.
Yeah. And they used to have it on the Saturday ones about 8:30, and then the Sunday ones were between 4 and 5.
On the HD, on the bold HD, I used to replay it there. Yeah.
On the main channel, on the bold channel was Saturday, and then on the main channel it led into their news. But they can't do that because with this one because the racing's finishing at 5:45 or something. But they could put it on their secondary channel like 7 Mate because they're only running something like border security or something. Not that there's anything wrong with border security, but
there's a lot there. Actually, I'll disagree. There is a lot wrong with the border security, but on the same, they've got the other horsepower running on the main channel too, so they wouldn't want to interrupt that, would they?
Yeah, they probably they won't because obviously they get they get a lot more money and they get a lot, probably even more viewers in terms of the horse racing. And of course, the people I guarantee you that Kerry Stokes and a lot of the people on the board at Channel 7 and in the ownership of Channel 7 also happen to deal in fine horses as well. So that's
just box comments down the bottom there. He must be talking about those little blackouts they were having there at one stage.
Yeah, look, sorry.
They were even having them on Sunday when the weather was better. They said on the Saturday it's due to the weather, but they were even having them on the Sunday. I was a bit surprised.
Someone shut the fridge door, but I don't think anyway.
Yeah, look, it has to be said, sort of as is the inside baseball stuff. The television coverage of the ARG stuff this year, if you remember, there were stories around originally Supercars Media were going to do that, and in the end they didn't. And I'm imagining that it was a money thing. The people who are doing it now are the people who do Speed Week on SBS, and it's still a very good coverage, but it's not to the same level of sophistication and the same sort of quality that you're going to get if Supercars Media themselves or Channel 7 themselves did it. It's very much a budget, like compared with what we do. I mean, it's like in the stratosphere, but it's certainly it's not our budget. I mean, our budget is probably sort of $7,000 or $8,000. Their budget might have been $60,000 to $80,000, but that's not a lot for something, especially at Phillip Island. Phillip Island being such a huge, a huge venue. It's very hard to get to link up all your cameras and especially and in-car cameras and all the rest of it. So you've got to sort of it's not as easy as people. As people were saying, Paul saying AVE covering Superbikes at Winton as well, which they were. So they were strung out. The other thing that you will see, talking about television coverage, and Auto Action ran this today. I think Fogarty had it.
I was going to say, yes, you've got. I've got to ask you another thing about Auto Action because I asked you to check an article for me on the weekend. So do that one first, but there's 2 articles.
Yeah, Gearhouse, who supply all the equipment. Nobody owns their own equipment anymore. You have to there was once a day when everybody had their own news crews, their own news vans, their own OB vans, they had their own everything, and everyone went out and Channel 9 went somewhere and had their own gear, and Channel 10 had their own gear. Nobody has their own gear in any big way anymore now. It all comes out of a couple of major companies, NFP, and Gearhouse is one of the big companies, and Gearhouse are responsible for the in-car cameras for the supercars. Well, apparently supercars, they want to save some money. And and Gearhouse has said, no, that's the price, pal. You don't want to pay our price, find someone else.
Just on that, Brett, it wasn't an inflated price. It was actually under the price they paid for the previous year for exactly the same equipment.
Yeah, but they're obviously everybody's desperate to save money within the television industry and within motor racing at the moment. I mean, we're all in the same boat. I mean, we're in the same boat at our end, down the bottom end of the shallow end of the pool. We're in exactly the same thing as well. I mean, we can't plan anything. We didn't have time. As I said, it was 3 weeks ago. We had no idea that we would be back. Definitely back on air. We didn't have our time slot absolutely confirmed until 11 o'clock this morning. So, and that's not just 31, it's everybody. So it's very hard for them to. So sponsorship they haven't got the sponsorship they wanted. Obviously, Channel 7's not getting the sort of money that they wanted in terms of putting stuff on earlier, and the production house, Supercars Media, aren't getting the money they wanted. They were trying to save a bit of money here and there from the
So has anyone got any
cameras.
spare HD? You got any spare HD cameras lying around?
Channel 7. If you want some in-car cameras on the weekend, hello, we're in pit lane. Think Stuart. I think that's we'll come up with. Hey, let's face it. I mean, as I've said, we've pulled off almost 25 years of keeping this on with almost zero money at all. You give us $10,000, you'd be amazed at what we can do. I can tell you. But anyway, that's the thing. Yeah, thanks, Box. Yeah, and as I said, it's very hard. But things do go wrong. I mean, you're in, and certainly Pete and Chris would know. I mean, you're in that control room at times, and you hit the button that's supposed to do something, and suddenly it doesn't do something. It's not a mistake of anybody's. It's just something that's happened, and it just depends on. You've got to hit another button until you can get that link back up again. It'll be the same at Nyora, I'm sure, and at Calder Drags.
Oh, those gremlins have been around since the 80s. They just keep on popping up. They have the movies all the time. So those darn gremlins, you should never feed them after midnight. What was the other bit of gossip, Brett? I asked you, could you check out that article for me last weekend? Was there any substance in the David Reynolds rumours, or was it all just innuendo?
To be honest, I didn't get around to it. As I said, I've just been absolutely flat out. When I haven't been either writing the news or editing the news, I've basically been in bed fast asleep. So
thanks, mate, Cal.
Yeah, so there you go, three quarter time. So Richmond 8 points up at 3/4 time, and we might break a little bit early tonight for Doc.
No, it's okay. Yeah. I won't be doing it. Snagglepuss exit stage left.
Jeremy, g'day, Jeremy. Sorry. Yes, we sort of got sidetracked. We talked about Murray, and that was obviously the other unfortunate passing, and we knew sort of this was coming. Sabine Schmitz, the Queen of the Nürburgring, as they call her, just a great driver, a terrific personality. I know a couple of people who knew her, and my late friend Melissa had the opportunity to go around the Nürburgring with her once.
Wow.
Just a lovely, just apparently a really, really lovely person, and everybody we're missing. And as you can see, there is a change.org petition going around to name a corner of the Nordschleife after Sabine. I've heard some people say, but she's not if you're going to name it after, why don't you name one after, this driver and that driver? I think Sabine, she was a native of the area. She was born in that area. And as she said, her first times on the Nordschleife were literally going from her house to the local supermarket. She drove on those roads when they were open roads, and would go out and just turn off somewhere down the main street.
She was also groundbreaking. I mean, just put in perspective, even if she's a woman, doesn't matter what you are. It could be a 14-year-old kid's the fastest kid on a bloody damn well three-wheeled tricycle down it. The thing is, she does hold actually records. So I think there is a substantial reason for a tribute there.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be a tribute. I hope so. But if you go to change.org, Jeremy's put the thing there. Jeremy we didn't catch up with Jeremy on the weekend. We were both busy, but yes, there's obviously a big push to have Sabine honoured in some way, and I think certainly at the first round of what was once known as the VLN coming up fairly soon, she will be honoured. She will definitely be honoured in some way there, because you see all that stuff she did with Top Gear, and of course the famous transit van, around the Nordschleife was just one of the, and that that smile and all the rest of it, and it's just it's such a tragedy. I mean, when we've lost so many people, and when they're so young. I mean, she was only 51, but she has battled the cancer for quite some time, and unfortunately, she did. It ultimately took her life, but R.I.P. Sabine.
I did catch up with Jeremy. I did break bread with him quickly down there when I was at Phillip Island. You were busy, I think, with setting up an interview at the time, but I'm glad it was the historics down there at Phillip Island, because when I was speaking to Jeremy, he got his little beast out for the first time. If anyone knows Jeremy, he rides his motorbike down there. And
I think we need to be careful with about stories about Jeremy getting his little beast out. I mean, Jeremy has been in trouble for getting his little beast out before. I mean, that's why he's come here from America. I mean, because they're very very funny in America about you getting your little beast out and what you do with it. So
very cool. So
Jeremy, keep your little beast under control. We've told you time and time again.
And just as well as the historics down there, because his little beast is a little bit more newer than some of the old beasts down there that usually get out there. So it's just as well he didn't get it out.
I wish I could replace my little beast, that's for sure.
He wasn't allowed to get his little beast out, otherwise it would have been flying around the track, chasing other little beasts.
Well, that's what they're for.
We'll just leave it there. Then it's just getting way out of hand, I think. Yes.
Mini, but yes. So he normally
he's new mini. What?
Yes, it's a mini beast. It's a very small little bird. But remember, it's not the size of your beast. It's how you drive it.
It's not large. It's mini. Okay. Right.
Yeah, it's mini. Hey, thank you, Alan. Very much appreciated. Everybody. As I said, we don't want to. We really do. I really do thank you for the support. It will certainly help us. We've got there are expenses in pulling all this together, and it certainly helps until we get some sponsorship. And we really do appreciate it. So thank you, Alan and Mark, and anybody who, if by all means, if you want to give us a super chat, I mean that's what it's. I think that's what it's there for. If any. And as I say, any donations gratefully accepted. But we don't want to turn, as I said, we don't want to turn this into a telethon. But we do appreciate it. Thank you very much for that. We really do appreciate it. It means a lot to us. Before we go, as I said, coming up this weekend, supercars are down at Sandown or over at Sandown, depending on where you are. So Shane Van Gisbergen looks like he will. The last time I heard, looks like he will compete.
Ooh.
You don't.
That was always going to happen.
You don't think so? You don't think so, Pete?
Late withdrawal, Pete.
That was always going to happen. They'll dope him up with something, and
I just look. I understand ducks and drakes and playing funny buggers and stuff like that, but if Shane Van Gisbergen does race or he doesn't race, it's not like you're playing a game of tennis or you've got, say, which just happens to be a coincidence tonight, Richmond are playing and their captain's out, so Trent Cotchin, who's a midfielder and is a prominent player in the side and can make a difference in games. You take out a race car driver, and yes, he is at the pointy end of the field most of the time, top 5, top 8, top 10. It's not going to make a big difference with playing games and fun. Oh, he's racing. No, he's not racing. Or if they come out with this great big plan, let's tell everyone he's going to race. And then at the last minute, when they go and see the car come out, we're going to change the sticker and they're going to change the name on the side of the decal on the car. It doesn't make that much of a difference. So I can't understand why if you're right, Pete, and you just laughed straight away and your reaction was, nah, he's not going to race. Well,
no. My reaction was that was always going to happen. He's going to race.
You reckon?
Yes. Yeah.
You reckon it's healed enough?
I don't know whether it's healed enough, but I reckon he's going to race.
If he doesn't, Garth Tander will take over from him. Garth, we as you saw if you watched the show tonight, we spoke to Garth, and you'll see when we put up the whole of that interview that Garth was saying that he's the players. Well, I thought he might not have said in the interview. It might have been just when we were chatting afterwards, but he certainly did say that he would be replacing Shane if Shane couldn't make it. But certainly the talk was if there was any chance that Shane could drive, he would, and
50-50
Shane being
was
Shane.
the last week. 50 wasn't it? 50-50 was the last call. And last time I checked, and I'm not a medical expert, but the medical experts out there have said anyone, first of all, broken collarbone. 2, broken collarbone that's had to have a plate put in it is minimum 4 weeks. Full stop.
Yeah, well, that's further, but as you know, Doc. I mean, with guys at MotoGP, we've seen people with broken arms, broken shoulder. I mean, I took sort of
limbs hanging off.
Yeah, I mean, I took a good 6 months to get sort of any sort of decent news back. This is when I broke the elbow and the arm here. It took me the best part of 6 months to get any sort of movement on it. It was the best part of a year before I got it back to almost normal. They're most of those guys. I mean, they do that sort of thing, and they're back racing in a week's time. So I think Shane will, if there's any possibility that he can do it, he will.
Here's a question then for the group with that sort of stuff. Then,
hang on a second, Doc. Is it true about Phillip Island? I'm not sure. You'll have to give us more information, Jeff. Not sure. Not sure what you're referring to there. Something about the island. So if you can give us a bit more information, that'd be great. I haven't heard anything specific about the island. Also, Mark was saying, don't you lose a percentage of super chats? Yeah. YouTube do take a percentage of super chats. A PayPal account. We have. I've set up something called on Coffee. I've got to sort of look into that. It's one of those things. There are restrictions that we're under with both 31 and RMI TV, and just things around that in terms of like people of using the program to make money in terms of what we can. We can accept donations, but the main thing is we can accept is sponsorship, and that's what we really, because that's not a problem. The system is set up for us to actually take sponsorship and to give people coverage, identified coverage on the program through stuff that, as we did for the Motorsport Fan Zone for a couple of years. Now, obviously, they're not on this year because the Grand Prix was delayed, and perhaps later on in the year when I don't believe they're coming back, they might come on board again. I would hope that they would. They've been fabulous to us, but. At the moment, it was very much a last minute thing. So I will be putting out stuff on the Facebook page. So if you know anybody in the motorsport or the motoring industry at all, or any sort of industry that could get some advantage of regular exposure on primetime television on Channel 31, and of course here on the In Pit Lane YouTube channel and via our website, then we'd really love to hear from you.
I was just going to say, going back to the SVG, I'm not sure because I have never heard much on the medical side of things because we're usually kept on the wraps. Say if someone was injured, are they allowed to have injections like they do in other sports for painkillers with needles?
That could be interesting. Yeah, I think there would be restrictions of some.
Because you can't go and numb someone's arm or leg or knee or hand or like that if they're strapped into a car, and of course it could be a volatile situation. If they're going out into a football field, sure, you can put a jab into an elbow or like that, but you can be monitored. They can be monitored.
I'll just break in at the moment, because what I thought was going to happen has happened. I'm now bleeding everywhere, including onto my shirt here. So we might just wrap this up, guys, because right now it's looking like a very bad episode of WWE. It's like, he's wearing a crimson mask.
Jeff to explain. Rumors have it that Fox is going to sell and redevelop into a housing development within 5 years.
They've been talking about. That rumor has been around for a long time now. I would doubt it. I think because they would have to rezone it for a start. And I think the state government, who have signed a long-term contract for the MotoGP and for the World Superbikes, would probably have something to say on that. Probably have something to say on that tonight. Yeah, look, guys, we might call it early while I go and clean myself up because I've got. I just noticed where I've been putting my hand down and all that. There's blood all over these jeans now, and So
you got to stop beating. You've got to stop beating yourself up, Brett.
This is what happens when you go to. This is what happens when you grow up in at Dandenong Technical School and get your nose broken about 4 or 5 times. So anyway, this is thanks everybody for supporting us.
Thanks for watching the show tonight too, and switching across from Channel 31 on the first episode of the year in our 25th year, and also thanks for switching across around the YouTube and catching us up. And all those comments that you're putting on the bottom there, we'll endeavour to spread the rumours a little bit more and probably ask a few questions along the way and see if there's any truth in them. And hopefully we all have a great weekend. There's plenty of motorsport on, as I think Paul Van der Acker said earlier. There's some sprint cars out Westway. We've also got Sandown, where the sun goes down, on the supercars this weekend. Box. Amusing night. Yeah, we always can have some help in making a fool of ourselves and making ourselves look idiots. So very good. Any F1 stuff coming up this weekend, Pete, or is it just they've all finished up their testing?
Testing's finished, and now it's on to Bahrain, the race in 2 weeks' time.
Yep. Anything catch your eye as well too, Richie, this week? Have you spotted anything?
Just having a look at McLaren's car for the F1. I understand they've got the clearance for their underside work on the vehicle, which has been passed.
They can slap a yellow sticker and says permit on it now.
Looks like it.
Scrutineered. Yeah. I don't think that's how they go about it. I think there's a little bit more. There's some other sorts of transactions in Formula One that goes on that we don't know about. There's maybe some mothballs come flying out of wallets sometimes, maybe. Or
you get that.
You do. Oh, what was that bank account number you said? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Anyway, I think Brett's doing some mopping up there in the background there, so it looks like I'm going to have to wrap this up for the night. As he said earlier, thanks for the donations as well too. The couple of guys like Mag Cal tonight and that sort of stuff. It really does mean a lot to Brett and the rest of the crew, and it goes to an extremely worthy cause and helps out with the equipment and keep things running smoothly. And as I said, don't forget, keep an eye out. Something coming up for Calder. There'll be an announcement coming up for the probably drag racing the next couple of weeks. We've got Nyora next week. There'll be another show. Brett will find time after he finishes whacking himself up and body slamming and jumping off the ropes on himself in his wrestling at home there. So he will edit some stuff in a couple of days when he gets him recovered. We'll send some good prescription drugs over to him. So make sure he looks after himself. So I think on behalf of the guys, thanks Pete, thanks Richie, thanks for the night. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the whatever you're watching and the footy on again if you want to watch a bit of that, and the motor racing and anything else you're getting up to. And on behalf of the guys, Brett, myself, and the 4 of us, have a great weekend. We'll sign off and see you. Next week there'll be another full course yellow. Okay. See you guys.
Bye.
See you. Thanks.